Hi, this is Randy Case, President and founder of AFC Vacations, and thank you for tuning in to our Fall Vacations video. As you can see, our catalog has been out since September and it's filled with over 60 vacations year-round. Today I'm going to concentrate on our fall trips for 2020. If you're not sure, AFC means Affordable First Class. Wonderful vacations worldwide. Every one of our tours has a learning component. We're a big fan of lifelong learning. Some examples would be, and everybody has fun. We think the number one component people take vacations for is to have fun. The first program I'd like to talk to you about is our Cape Cod and the Islands tour. It's an Unpack Twice tour that goes to Massachusetts and Rhode Island. You can see by the map that you unpack for 3 nights in Providence and 3 nights out on the Cape in the town of Hyannis. Now we go in fall, and after Labor Day, everything slows down nicely, but the weather is exceptional. Your tour manager is Deb Howard, who is a resident. When we go to Providence, we'll be visiting a number of things in that area, including Newport, Rhode Island, famous for the summer mansions of the Gilded Age, the rich and famous, Plymouth, where they have the Rock and the Mayflower replica, and Boston, the capital of Massachusetts. We'll be going to both Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket on this trip. We'll visit Hyannis and the Kennedy Compound area, and you'll also stay at a wonderful resort there on the Cape called the Red Jacket Beach Hotel. Don't forget that lobster dinner that's included on the tour. In addition, you'll see the cranberries in the lower right, and the harvest is on in September, and of course, Plymouth is where the Ocean Spray Cranberry Juice headquarters is located. So we'll see working cranberry bogs. Our next trip goes to North Carolina and visits the Outer Banks with 5 nights on the wonderful Outer Banks. From the map, you can see we fly into Raleigh, the capital, and we finish in a naval port called North Fork. In Raleigh, you'll see the University of North Carolina, the Capitol building, and the Governor's Palace or Mansion. Then you'll head out onto the Outer Banks. You'll go by ferry between islands. You'll drive on very scenic highways. You'll stay at wonderful beachfront resorts. This is one of our hotels, which is the DoubleTree at Atlantic Beach. The horses down below are wild horses at Corolla, and we'll get into modified Humvee Jeeps that'll take us on the beach and into the rough scrub so that we'll see all these animals. Go to Kitty Hawk and we'll learn about Orville and Wilbur Wright and the first manned flight by a powered aircraft. We'll also go to Roanoke and the Lost Colony and learn about Sir Walter Raleigh. We'll end in North Fork, which has a great maritime museum and also a battleship from World War II. And we'll also see the final resting place of Douglas MacArthur, the great World War II general. We have a tour that goes to Branson, the music capital of the world, with 72 live shows and more seats than Broadway in New York City. We'll unpack once in Branson, and we'll see 8 music shows. The music shows vary from country western to Broadway show tunes to hits of the 60s and 50s to great jubilees and dance shows. One of the highlights will be the best ticket in town, I believe, and that's Shoji Tabuchi, the Japanese violinist. We'll also be going during the fall, and in the upper right you can see the replica of the Titanic, and we'll do a mystery theater on board the Titanic. Our New York tour will show you the highlights of this world-class city. It's escorted by Chuck Denny. You unpack once and include a great Broadway show. We'll stay at the brand new Holiday Inn, Times Square. We'll include a Times Square walking tour during the day and the night, and you'll also go to a world-famous New York deli. The tour has a That's Entertainment theme, so we go behind the scenes at Radio City Music Hall, Grand Central Station, and also at Carnegie Hall. We'll do a great musical called The Carole King Story about the great singer. It's called Beautiful. Include going to Ellis Island, the Immigration Museum there. We'll go to the Freedom Tower, and we'll also go to the 9/11 Memorial right there at the footprints of the original World Trade Center. Here's some people on our trips having a great time. This wonderful program includes the California wine country. It's called Wine Rail in Redwoods, and it goes during the harvest time of late September. You'll unpack once just north of San Francisco in Rohnert Park, and you'll do day trips through Napa, Sonoma, and Mendocino counties. We stay at one hotel, the beautiful Hilton Wine Country. Everybody will enjoy that hotel extremely. We visit some very, very unique wineries. There's a French chateau, an old castle, a beautiful mansion. We'll also learn about culinary food by going to a school there, olive oil tasting, and take the Napa Valley wine trip. It's not all about wine, though, because we'll be visiting 3 great museums. The Charles Schulz Museum, called Peanuts, the great cartoonist. Luther Burbank's home. He was a horticulturalist, produced seeds and sent them all over the world. And then we'll go to the Filoli Mansion down near Palo Alto, and that was used in the TV series Dynasty from the 1980s. Come join us on Wine Rail in Redwoods. You'll never drink $2 Chuck again from Trader Joe's. Private rail car that we use on Majestic Sierra Parks by rail. And this car goes from LA Union Station up to... This tour goes in October, so you'll see the fall colors in the national parks. It's a no-flying vacation. We pick you up at home, take you to the train, and then return you to your home after the program. Conrad Townsend will be your tour manager, and this is a guaranteed departure, as are most of these programs. A private rail car built in 1951 called the Silver Lariat. It holds 68 people, but the most we'll put on board is 42. It holds 24 in the dome, 24 in the dining section, and 18 up forward. You'll have wonderful meals on board and really enjoy riding the train. On board, there's lots of fun things to do. There's 5 tuxedoed waiters, take care of your interests, and they serve wonderful meals. A light breakfast, full lunch, and full dinner. Open bar the entire way, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. Riding the rails up to Salinas, and you'll be riding right along the coast at Santa Barbara and Ventura. Once we get to Monterey, we'll spend 2 nights at Cannery Row at the beautiful Victorian Inn. Every room has a balcony and a fireplace. We'll go to the aquarium, and we'll also have dinner at Fisherman's Wharf. We'll go to Salinas, the lettuce capital of the world, and visit John Steinbeck's boyhood home. We'll have lunch there, and then go across the street to the museum, dedicated to all the great books he wrote. Then we'll cross the Central Valley to the foothills of the Sierras and stay at a beautiful lodge called Chachansey Lodge. We'll go up into Yosemite and do a tour of the valley floor with lunch at the Ahwahnee Inn. We'll also visit Kings Canyon National Park and Sequoia National Park. Then we'll return by motor coach to San Diego or LA, drop you off where the home shuttle will take you to your home. What a wonderful trip. Both trips in June sold out, and October I'm sure will do the same. Ultimate Canyonlands. If you want to see Arizona and Utah and all the best national parks in those areas, you'll want to join AFC on this wonderful fall tour, where you'll visit Monument Valley, Zion and Bryce, Arches, the North Rim of the Grand Canyon, just to name a few. Tour manager is Chris McCool, who is an expert in this area. It's a short 1-hour flight to Las Vegas, and then a 9-day circle visiting 6 national parks and 6 state parks. It goes in October when the air and temperature is very, very nice in the 70s, and there's no crowds. We'll visit a slot canyon. We'll go to Fiery Furnace and Bryce, as well as Canyonlands National Park. We'll visit the Natural Arch. We'll also go to Goblin Valley and stay in beautiful hotels like this one, the Majestic View Lodge, there in Zion National Park. We'll go up to the Kolob Terraces, a unique part of Zion that very few coaches go to, the Coral Pink Sand Dunes, and a wonderful cruise to Antelope Canyon there at Lake Powell. Come join us on this wonderful program. It sells out every year. Here's some people on our trips, and I'd like to turn your attention to the upper right. I'm very happy and proud of that picture because that shows the mother, the daughter, and the grandson. 3 generations of one family on an AFC vacation. A new tour for us, Texas Heroes and Presidents, concentrates on the great state of Texas, where we'll see 3 presidential libraries. We'll learn about Davy Crockett and Theodore Roosevelt, and also John F. Kennedy. You can see we unpack 3 times, 2 nights in San Antonio, 1 night College Station, 3 nights in Dallas. Denise Wright will be your tour manager, and we go in October. San Antonio has the Riverwalk, which is where Bourbon Street meets Texas, with lots of nightclubs, restaurants, and wonderful outdoor venues. The Menger Hotel, that's where Teddy Roosevelt recruited his Rough Riders, and of course the Alamo is where Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie were killed. On to Austin, Texas, where we'll go to the LBJ Museum. We'll learn about 3 great universities in Texas, and we'll also visit College Station, which is where the Senior Bush Library is located. Visit the library for W, the younger Bush. Also in Dallas, we'll see where John F. Kennedy was assassinated there at Dealey Plaza. We'll go into the book depository. You have a great museum there. We'll also visit the flagship store of Neiman Marcus, the headquarters of Mary Kay Cosmetics. We'll tour through the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, which cost over $1.5 billion, one of the largest, biggest football stadiums in the world. And we'll also see South Fork Ranch, which was used in the TV series Dallas. Some people on our trips, again, having a wonderful time. Our mystery tours are extremely popular. We have 8 scheduled for 2017, and 4 of them have already gone, almost all of them sold out. We have 4 departures left. These 2, October and December, are our mystery fun tours. First timer tours, which are located and operated in October and November. And these are the best of our mystery tours. In the last 9 years, we've operated close to 50 of these tours, and we've picked the best ones to repeat as our first timers. Come join us on our mystery tours and let the inner child in you come out and play. Here's some of the fun people that come along on our tours. We do not leave the country, so some of the places we visited in the past would be Kansas City. Also went to Pella, Iowa for the Tulip Festival, and we went there for the Bridges of Madison County and John Wayne Bourbon. Richmond, Virginia was a destination one time where we learned about the Confederacy, the Fabergé eggs at the Art Museum, the beautiful University of Virginia designed by Thomas Jefferson. Was a destination one year. We spent 4 nights in the Davenport Hotel, a beautiful historic hotel. You can see the lobby there. We did a day trip up to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, just a half-hour drive, did a cruise of the lake, and learned about Bing Crosby because he went to Gonzaga University there in Spokane. Our mystery tours the first week of December are holiday-oriented. Everybody dresses up real nice. And one year we went to the Broadmoor Hotel in Colorado Springs. Stayed in the original historic building. They have over 30 Christmas trees decorating the public area. We went to the Garden of the Gods. We went to Glen Erie Castle and had a high tea and a wonderful dinner at the Briarhurst Brownstone Mansion. Now, fall foliage means changing of the leaves with AFC, and almost all of our September-October tours include that. I'm in New England now for 35 years. We go in late September, early October. That's the peak foliage season, and Deb Howard will be your tour manager. This tour does a wonderful 8-day loop out of Boston, and the average day is only 150 miles. You're staying at wonderful resorts and visiting 5 great states in the New England region. That's the kind of foliage you're going to see. And the theme this year is that of Norman Rockwell. We'll be going to his studio and where he painted for about 18 years. That's in Arlington, Vermont. We'll go to another museum that has all of the covers he ever painted on the Saturday Evening Post. And also in the Berkshire Mountains is his great museum with over 700 of his paintings and sketches. We'll have lobster. We'll visit the Freedom Trail in Boston. We'll see covered bridges and also visit beautiful resorts. The one in the lower right is the one in Lake Placid, right on. And we'll visit many craft shops. We'll see how they make candles, maple syrup, apple cider, and ice cream. We also do New England in the fall by train. This is where you stay in comfortable hotels during the evening and you go on 5 scenic trains all around through New England. We do the same thing in Colorado. Trains across Colorado, hotels throughout your trip, but there are 4 scenic trains you'll go on. A really nice circle out of Denver. And you can see the trains here. Most of them are Puffin Billies, old steam change trains, but we do go on the Cog Railroad to the top of Pikes Peak in Colorado Springs. Brandywine in the Poconos. We've been doing this tour for 7 years. Again, it sells out every year. And you're going to take in eastern Pennsylvania, including the Amish country. You'll start with flying into Philadelphia and you'll end in Newark. And you'll have 4 nights in the Brandywine Valley and 2 nights up in the Poconos. We have 2 departures. Deb Howard will do the first one, October 7, and Conrad will do the second one, October 14th, a week later. We'll stay at the wonderful Desmond Hotel in Brandywine, and we'll learn all about the DuPont family that originally made their money by creating smokeless gunpowder. Later on, they got into chemicals. And we'll visit many of the DuPont mansions, including Longwood and Demuth. We'll drive up to Hershey and see the sweetest spot in the United States where Hershey's chocolates are made. We'll visit the QVC factory and see them shoot there and video. We'll also do a day trip to Philadelphia, the Amish country, and pass by Martin's Guitar. Go inside and see how they make wonderful acoustic guitars. In the Poconos, we'll unpack for 2 nights at the Shawnee Inn, which is more like a bed and breakfast with under 100 rooms. And we'll visit the foliage and the beautiful homes and resorts up in through the Poconos. Philadelphia and Long Island combines 2 great destinations, including a day trip to Cape May and going the full length of Long Island. 3 nights in Philly, and then 3 nights in Huntington, a small town on Long Island. I'll be escorting this trip. I'm really excited about it. It's a President's Tour as part of our 35th anniversary. We'll go in October in the fall color. In Philadelphia, we'll go to the National Constitution Museum, the brand new American Revolution Museum, and the new location for the Barnes Art Museum. Then we'll go up into the Gold Coast, and this was known for the Gatsbys, the Gilded Age. The richest families had homes in this area, such as Vanderbilt and Rockefeller and many others. We'll also visit Sagamore, which was the home of Theodore Roosevelt. In the lower left is a photo of the Hilton Hotel. That's the lobby and bar, and we're staying there for 3 nights. On Long Island, you'll see beautiful resorts. You'll go through historic cities like the Hamptons. You'll also visit Sag Harbor and the Montauk Lighthouse. Most people have been to New York, but they haven't been to this part of Long Island. It's surely to be a wonderful time. Washington, D.C. is a great time and a great city to visit. We're going in October, which is fall colors, at the 4 Diamond Westin Hotel in Arlington, and you'll do comprehensive sightseeing every day, and it's all included. You'll be doing the White House Visitor Center. You'll go by the Jefferson and Washington Memorials, as well as the Lincoln Memorial, the Capitol Building. All of these are included on the trip. Also go to Ford's Theater, where Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, the National World War II Memorial on the Mall, the Changing of the Guard at Arlington National Cemetery, and there'll be time for the Air and Space or Natural History Museums on the Mall. The White House Visitor Center will be a highlight, as will be the Washington Cathedral. Places we go to are the Saudi Arabia Embassy, and at Arlington we'll visit the stables where the horses are located that draw the caissons. The cottage, which is known for Abraham Lincoln living there during the Civil War, and also the Immaculate Conception Shrine, which has a beautiful mosaic location there. And of course, Mount Vernon will be our last stop, the only home of George and Martha Washington. Please join us in October for this fall foliage tour. Here's some people having a great time. Would you rather have ice cream or Bloody Marys with AFC? We've got you covered. This tour is quickly selling out. We already have 26 on it. It's called America's Music Cities and Smoky Mountains. It's a fall foliage tour. 2 nights in New Orleans, 2 nights Memphis, 1 night Nashville, and 2 nights in Gatlinburg. You're going to learn about 4 very unique American musics. Jazz in New Orleans, Memphis has the blues and rock and roll, and country western comes from Nashville. In New Orleans, we'll go to the School of Cooking, where you can put on an apron and get up there and cook jambalaya and corn chowder and pralines. You'll also be right in the Garden District and see Bourbon Street and learn all about jazz. Memphis and learn about Elvis Presley, and that's his home in the upper left, which is called Graceland. We'll have Memphis barbecue, and Beale Street is known for. In Nashville, we'll stay at the Opryland Hotel, which is now a Marriott, and do all the highlights there. Foliage up in the Smoky Mountains, we'll visit Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge and take the railroad there. On our tours to Switzerland and Australia. Niagara Falls and the Grand Hotel goes in October for fall colors. Going to Detroit, Motor City, and learn about the Henry Ford Museums. For 2 nights on Mackinac Island at the Grand Hotel, that's in Michigan. There are no automobiles allowed, and we have wonderful food there. Breakfast and dinner is included at the great restaurant there, with a big band dancing at night. Then on to another part of Michigan, a little Bavaria area called Frankenmuth. And we'll have a German dinner there and stay at the Bavarian Inn. And we end our tour in Niagara Falls, staying at the beautiful Marriott Hotel, right on the falls. We're on the Canadian side, so you'll need your passport. And you'll see the lighting of the falls and go on the Maid of the Mist as well. We also do Niagara Falls along with French Canada. And this flies into Buffalo and home from Montreal, and you're going to see the big cities of Eastern Canada. The fall foliage is tremendous throughout this program. Great hotels like La Meridians, Marriott's, Hyatt Regencies, and also Hilton's. Niagara Falls will probably see a Mountie, that's the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and go on the Maid of the Mist boat ride. We'll see the lighting ceremony at night. And again, we stay at the beautiful hotel there, the Marriott Falls View. We'll take you under the falls, which is the journey behind the falls, where you go down an elevator and out and see the falls with a rain slicker on. The only thing we don't include, and it's an option, falls. It's not for everybody, but I highly recommend it. In Toronto, the largest city in Canada, we'll go to the top of the CN Tower, and we'll also learn about the City Hall and beautiful Eaton Center shopping area. Islands of the St. Lawrence River, we take a cruise there, and then we go on to the capital of Canada, Ottawa, which means to trade. Then on to the oldest city in Quebec. It's very French. It's called the Quebec City. Dates back 408 years ago. Chateau Frontenac Hotel. It's a walled city, so there are 5 different gates. It appears very much like Paris and different parts of France, where you have outdoor cafes and walking areas, very narrow cobblestone streets that date back over 300 years. That's the fort built by the British called the Citadel, and we have great French meals there. On to Montreal, the second largest French-speaking city in the world. Only Paris, France is larger. It's built on an island in the St. Lawrence River, and it's built around a mountain called Mount Royal or Montreal. See the Notre Dame Basilica. Built this beautiful St. Joseph's Oratory. Olympic Games were held there in 1976, the Summer Games, and we'll visit that venue. We only have a few seats left on this tour. Please join us. Here's some people again, having a great time on AFC Tours. Upstate New York is very unique in that we don't go to New York City. And we visit upstate New York, going through Rochester, the Finger Lakes, Cooperstown, Catskill Mountains, and the Hudson River Valley. Again, the fall foliage will be ultimately spectacular. We start by going to New York, Niagara Falls. You will not need your passport. You'll be on the New York side. Finger Lakes. There are 14 Finger Lakes, and we stay on one of the largest called Seneca Lake in a little town called Geneva. This is the wine country of New York. Resort where everybody has a lake view room, and we'll visit one of 2 culinary institutes on this trip. On to Corning Glass. Everybody's heard of this. We'll spend 2.5 hours here going through the museum, seeing them make glass. Small town on a lake called Cooperstown, which is where the Baseball Hall of Fame is located. Catskills will stop at a beautiful resort built at the turn of the century. This is called the Mohawk Mountain House. There used to be over 100 of these now, but most burnt down. There are only 5 of them left. On the Hudson River, we'll spend 2 nights at the beautiful Hotel Thayer, right on the grounds of West Point Military Academy. We'll tour the academy. Trips. We'll go up to Hyde Park, and we'll learn about Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt and their beautiful home and presidential library there at Springwood. The gentleman on the far left at the bottom is George Eastman, and we'll visit his mansion in Rochester. Eastman Kodak was his company. The highlight of our stay in Hyde Park will be lunch at the Culinary Institute of America, where we'll tour the school and then have lunch at one of their 5 restaurants. What a great trip. A balloon, fantastic trip. We've done this now for 19 years. A little bit different than most companies. Not only we do the big 3, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and Taos, but we take you down into Billy the Kid Country and Carlsbad Caverns. We go October 8th through 15th. Our first tour is already sold out, and the second tour has 12 people remaining. 3 nights in Santa Fe, we'll go to the cooking school. We also go to another restaurant where the waiters are the entertainment with singing and dancing after dinner. And we'll go to the Inn at Loretto and the Palace of the Governors. Lots to see in the town of Santa Fe. We'll learn about the Pueblo Indians on this trip. There are 19 different tribes. We'll go to 2 of their pueblos, the Taos Pueblo and Acoma Sky City. We'll learn about their costumes, their jewelry, and pottery. Billy the Kid Country is down by Ruidoso. 2 nights at the beautiful lodge at Ruidoso. A nice day trip over to Carlsbad Caverns. The aspens will all be out because it's fall, and we'll go by Trinity Site area, which is in the White Sands Proving Ground where the first atomic bomb was exploded as part of the Manhattan Project in World War II. This is the Balloon Fiesta grounds, and they have 500 hot air balloons going up at once. We'll be there for that mass ascension. I like to go for the special shapes. The round ones are fun and good to see, but nothing compared to these special shapes as you can see pictured here. We'll also include the balloon glow at night, where the balloons are tethered so they don't go up, and the glow at night is spectacular. Some people on our trips. Australia and New Zealand, AFC has been doing for 29 years. We do both Australia and New Zealand. We go in October, which is their springtime, and it's 16 days in length. People buy this tour for Australia, but they love it for New Zealand. And we spend most of our time in New Zealand, both the North and the South Island. Then we fly over to Melbourne and do the East Coast of Australia. The airfare is all included in this, including the inner island flights. Jenny will be your tour manager. We use Air New Zealand, constantly in the top 5 rankings of airlines in the world. This is coach with big seats and lots of leg. Many people will upgrade to Pacific Premier, which allows you a seat, as you can see in the bottom right, that has a footrest and reclines quite a bit. Very much more affordable than business or first. We go to Auckland. There are only 3 million people in New Zealand, and 1 million of them live in Auckland, the largest city. We'll go up in the tower and have our Get Acquainted lunch. We'll visit the museums there, and we'll also go to the glowworms in the upper right. They're in a grotto at Waitomo, and you'll see all these worms that are very much like fireflies, and they light up the top of the grotto. Then we'll visit the area where the sheep are, and this is in a town called Rotorua. It's known for 2 things. The local natives called the Maoris, and we'll visit their village and have a henge feast which is like a luau, and we'll also see their dancing. Rotorua is also known as the Yellowstone of New Zealand because of its thermal area, geothermal area with mud pots and geysers. We'll go to a sheep show as well. As I mentioned, 3 million people in New Zealand and 72 million sheep. We stay at a wonderful chain of hotels called Novotel on most of our cities. And one of the highlights of New Zealand will be Queenstown. 3 nights there, which is on a beautiful lake. And we'll have a chance to go to the top of Bob's Peak with a beautiful view, and that's one of our meals. Jet boating is an option if you'd like. Include the day trip to Milford Sound. And this is actually a fjord. The water is about 1,000 feet deep here, and the mountains go directly straight up from sea level to 5,000 feet. We have a cruise with lunch included. Cross the Tasman Sea to Australia, and we'll spend 3 nights in Melbourne, where the old money is, very similar to Boston. And you'll see lots of highlights there, including an opal shop. And we'll go and see the fairy penguins out at Phillip Island. Then on to the capital, called Canberra, and you'll see the old and new Parliament building. It's a beautifully laid out city with lots of great museums. Just outside Canberra is a working sheep station, where we'll go out and have a barbecue, meet the Jillaroos and Jackaroos, the cowboys and cowgirls, and also throw boomerangs and see a sheep shearing show. And then on to Sydney, the real quintessential city with the Opera House there in Sydney, Australia. One of our groups, we usually keep our group small, 25 to 30 people. And there is an extension at the end of the tour if you want to go out to the Great Barrier Reef up at Cairns, and we visit Green Island. And we'll go to a Jumbakai show there about the Aboriginals. These are the natives that have been there for over 10,000 years. Hope you'll join us on this great vacation. Here's some people on that tour, actually. And with American Queen Steamboat Company. And these are wonderful paddle wheelers that cruise the inland empire, if you will, of the United States, the Heartland. This is their largest boat, the American Queen. She holds 430 people inside and outside cabins. It's an authentic steam-powered engine with a paddle wheel where they cruise. The Mississippi, the Ohio, the Cumberland, and the Tennessee rivers, the heartland of America. When you look at the pricing, please remember that the first night hotel is included. Wherever you fly into, they include the hotel. You go back in time and see these beautiful buildings, and inside the ship is designed like Mark Twain would have had it. There's Dixieland music permeating the air everywhere. Food, big band dancing at night, fantastic shows. Look where they dock, right downtown. They have great food, including Creole and Cajun food. And you can see from the accommodations, there are outside and inside rooms, but most people will get a room with a view. You can never get seasick. You can never lose sight of land. So why would you have an inside cabin? Excursions are included, and here you can see the bus painted to look like the ship. Wine and beer are included with dinner. Lots of highlights on these trips. They have a brand new boat called the American Duchess, and she only holds about 170 people in all suites. The average room is 180 to 400 square feet. Public areas are beautiful. They have great food on board. Again, all your shore excursions are included. Some of the accommodations. Big rooms. I hope you'll join us on these programs, as we already have 2018 dates available. Here we are on our last slides as we're travel with us in 2017 or 18. Thanks for your attention. Hope to see you down the road. Thanks so much.